Yo, what is going on guys, XHOUNDISHx here, and today Trials of Osiris has returned to Destiny, and this week's map is pretty much the holy grail of Trials of Osiris maps. It is the Burning Shrine, which was of course the first Trials of Osiris map ever to be in the game, which is pretty damn awesome, and it means a lot of year one players and PvPers will be very comfortable with Trials of Osiris this week and are going to know it pretty well, because I feel like I've played a hell of a lot on Burning Shrine. It was a very common map to see in year one, probably one of my most played maps. So I've really enjoyed playing on the Burning Shrine this week. But of course, there are a lot of year 2 players that haven't necessarily had Trials experience in particular on the Burning Shrine. So I'm going to suggest a few things to look out for when you're playing on this map, a few tips, and hopefully they will help you out a little bit in Trials this weekend. But firstly, helmets are dropping at 5 wins this week, and it is scout rifles at 7 wins, if in case anyone is wondering what you can actually get dropped from Trials. So if you want either of those, definitely a good time to play Trials this week. So let's talk about the Burning Shrine. So this is an upper and lower spawn kind of map style, similar to Widow's Court, how you've got the upper side and the lower side. So there's some pretty long, wide lines of sight on this map, very long lines of sight, pretty much spanning throughout the map in different areas. And then there are the smaller corridors up on the top side, which are either side of the actual bridge. So in a lot of ways, it's pretty similar in the kind of engagement spaces and distances to something like the Drifter. In a lot of ways, so that's pretty interesting, pretty cool. So I feel like this is a sniper dominant map, really. There are a lot of lines of sight, such as the kind of bridge upper to lower spawn on the left, so you really need to challenge these at your own risk if you are sniping. It depends how confident and how well you know them. You're definitely going to need to know these positions, but of course you've got up and down the stairs from any of the inner to outer kind of doorways, and then across the very middle part of the map inside are very common sniping lanes. There's some distance there as well, so you're going to want to be pretty careful and choose kind of what weapons and when you use them. Choose that stuff pretty well. Shotguns are viable on this map for sure, but you need kind of sniping capacity in your team. Don't kind of bum rush people with shotguns. It's not really going to work against the better players. You can push kind of a Last Guardian if you're using shotguns, but really you want to kind of fit that into your team play. I definitely recommend having 2 solid snipers. So when you're coming up against the enemy teams, if you are struggling, challenging from a particular side, there are a lot of ways to move around this map. You can try kind of pushing towards their spawn from the inside, to the outside, or you can try going the opposite way and pushing all the way outside, or if you're kind of on the bottom spawn, you can go to the left hand side instead, which gives you kind of like a wider access point, a wider window to the interior, because sometimes can help you out a little bit. So there's a lot of ways to actually move around this map as a team and attempt to kind of move around the enemy team and get them in a position where you can kill them more easily, essentially, if that's the kind of thing that you're struggling with. So there are a lot of approaches you can take on this map. Splitting up cleverly is pretty useful on this map. So if you're on the upper spawn, if you send one to challenge the snipe on the bridge, one hard left, and then one to kind of go down onto the right hand side into the middle and snipe across, it can be pretty useful breaking up in particular kind of ways on this team. But you want to also be able to access reses and get back to your teammates pretty effectively. So that's something to think about, and it's kind of a fast moving map. Sometimes you really have to move pretty quickly to get back to your teammates. Things can change quite a lot. So again, communication is very important, as always with Trials of Osiris. So on heavies, you can push on this map pretty effectively either way. The upper spawn, I think, really has an advantage because you can get into the outside and go pretty wide and snipe people or take people out with scout rifles and things like that. Obviously with heavy, always use rockets, and this map is definitely one of those where rockets are even more important in my opinion, because people will peek around corners and send rockets kind of flying into your position where they won't necessarily give you a line of sight for long enough to kill them with anything other than a rocket. So this is a general Trials problem, but I still see a lot of people using LMGs that are just not even having an opportunity in Trials. Get yourself a decent rocket launcher for PvP in Trials of Osiris especially. So anyway guys, hopefully you found some of these tips kind of useful and interesting, something to think about anyway. And if you have been playing Trials on this map, let me know down below how you like to play on this map, and if you've got any strats or tactics that other people might find particularly useful, leave them in the comments down below. But I hope you have enjoyed the video guys. Drop me a like if you have, and if you're new to the channel and you want to see more Destiny content, feel free to hit that subscribe button for a lot more. But for now, you guys take it easy, have an awesome new year, and I'll catch you very soon. Oh my God!